Chapter 5 Ambition and Vision. It turned out that the homework Yulia had shown Zane on Friday night was only the tip of the iceberg. Much more was left untouched. A large portion of the work were questionnaires for new students, asking what they wanted to achieve in the future and what career they wished to pursue. Although Zane noticed a few history assignments Yulia needed to complete, hence why she brought textbooks to his cabin the night prior, Zane helped lay out the books in correlation with what assignments they were needed for. Yulia was keen to start one of her history assignments. It asked her to write down as much as she knew about her race. As the two sat down and began, there was a knock on the cabin door. Zane read the aura of the newcomer. "Come in, Nirav." Nirav opened the door and stepped inside with a slightly shocked expression.
"I forgot you can sense auras."
This statement made Zane smirk.
"Morning, Nirav. Glad you knew where to find me."
Zane was unsure of what she implied. It was as if she knew Nirav would search for her, and knew she would be in his cabin this morning.
Did she plan to stay over the whole time? And she told Nirav she would be here beforehand.
He glanced at Yulia, who looked back with a little devious smile.
Yeah, she definitely planned this.
Actually, I don't mean to be rude, Yulia, but I'm actually here to speak with Zane.
To this, both Zane and Yulia looked up at him with confusion. Neither of them knew what Nirav wanted with him. Zane got to his feet.
Of course. What do you need?
This week did, however, allow Zane to get used to Nirav being around. He was now a bit more willing to help the Shapeshifter out.
Well, I was wondering if you could teach me how to fight.
Zane glanced back at Yulia. Her look of shock mirrored his own.
Where is this coming from? You're just a student. You don't share the same responsibilities as me.
Well,
It's because of what happened with Barrett on Monday, isn't it? I understand you weren't able to do much against that oaf, but you don't need to fight your way out of problems the way Zane does. You're too kind-hearted to lay a hand on someone.
To be honest, the conflict with Barrett opened my eyes. I know my shapeshifter power is useful at times, but I just didn't have the will to use it when he grabbed me. Especially because if I did escape at that moment, I would have left you to deal with him.
I see what he's saying. He feels like his powers shouldn't be his only useful tool. Learning to fight certainly has its perks, regardless of your race's powers.
What I'm trying to say is, I want to learn how to properly protect myself and those I care about. Since you're a protector, I figured that's your area of expertise.
Zane crossed his arms. Although he wasn't wrong, Zane sensed some sort of ulterior motive accompanying his wish of learning to fight.
Protect himself and those he cares about.
He glanced over at his master and asked,
Are you okay working by yourself for a while?
Of course. I'll just do the questionnaires, and when I get to the hard stuff, I'll wait for you.
He nodded and turned back to the Shapeshifter, eagerly waiting for a response.
Do you have any loose clothing?
Nirav nodded.
Good. Get them on, and meet me at the school's oval in 5 minutes.
He nodded again with a smile and dashed out the doorway, jogging back to the boys' dormitory.
Why not just train in your cabin?
Warming up is critical before training.
Zane took Nirav for a half-an-hour jog around the school's oval, every so often increasing his speed to encourage Nirav to run faster. He was testing the Shapeshifter's stamina. he was glad to find out that Nirav had a lot of it. Once they finished and got a drink of water at the fountains nearby, Zane noticed his company was still breathing heavily and sweating slightly.
You run often?
No, I have never run.
Zane nodded and patted his back, saving the other boy from having to complete his sentence.
Gotcha.
Zane gulped his water and encouraged Nirav to get a drink as well. It was now time for the next workout.
Great job. Now, before we continue, I want to see how you punch.
Zane walked ahead of Nirav and turned to face him, standing across from his new friend. He crossed his arms, took a big, deep breath, and slowly started to breathe normally. He prepared himself and got ready to focus. Nirav looked up with squinting eyes and sweat dripping from his forehead.
Wait, right now?
Zane nodded.
I will defend myself. I just want to see how you go about throwing a fist.
After a few extra seconds to collect himself, Nirav stood up straight and held his fists up to his head, holding what he thought was a decent fighting stance.
He's knowledgeable enough to hold his fists up to protect his face, but it's still a clumsy stance, probably because he's already exhausted.
Nirav held his stance and took a half step towards Zane. He said he would only defend himself, but judging Nirav's body language, he could tell the shapeshifter was cautious, as if he was suspecting a surprise attack. Nirav's right hook punch was aimed directly at Zane's temple. The teacher was able to avoid it by simply leaning backwards. As his fist missed and he brought it back, Nirav decided to continue his attack. Zane was about to comment on the right hook when Nirav approached with left and right jabs. Zane was able to swiftly dodge the jabs and return to full alert. After both punches missed, Nirav went for a knee strike, blocked by Zane's forearms. The spar continued for 30 seconds, the shapeshifter aiming attacks for Zane's torso and head, and the demon effectively dodging or blocking each attack. Gradually, each strike became slower and clumsier. Zane maintained his stance of defense, not striking back at Nirav even though he asked for just one attack. Nirav finally ran out of strength, fell to one knee, and gasped for breath.
You finished?
Nirav nodded as he continued panting.
Well, you got heart. I can certainly believe that.
Zane knelt down to see eye to eye with Nirav. He saw the determination in his eyes. It made Zane believe that Nirav did have an ulterior motive, one he wished to know.
But if you're willing to put time into it, I can teach you how to throw punches that will break Barrett's jaw.
Hearing this made Nirav slow his breathing and think deeply about Barrett. The bully was able to lift him with a single hand, just about choking him whilst doing so. Nirav wanted to fight back at that time, but was paralyzed with fear instead.
I'm going to make him regret targeting Yulia.
Zane smirked. Hearing confidence ooze from Nirav filled him with passion.
Just as I thought. I like the sound of that.
He offered his hand to Nirav and hauled him to his feet. Adrenaline now flowed from the pair.
Did you ever expect to be a teacher at this school?
No, but I like the idea of helping someone who wants nothing but the best for Yulia. I can sense the intensity raging around his aura. Maybe there is something special to the sky after all.